What's up, guys? Oh, Ninja on a Ninja, and I have a video for you today. It's Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's who I call Neil duMbass Tyson. But it's Neil deGrasse. I said Neil duMbass, right? Tyson. He has 4.7 dumb subscribers because it's to believe that he knows anything. I don't know why it didn't fit. Anyways, he explains dimensions, 4.3 views, which is pretty close to 4.7 subs. That's pretty cool. 1 year ago, basically. I'm just seeing it for the first time now, today. But the point here is, first off, before we get into it, he's gonna tell us.
So Chuck,
I'm trying to get that line, but okay, that little circle. He wants to explain what dimensions are, but the thing is, dimensions aren't. Basically, what I mean is they're not real. They're man-made. They're constructed. They're fake. They're much like time, man-made, much like a math, man-made, just like a language, basically. Why doesn't it fit? It's so weird. Anyways, so he's full of shit, and it's not real. Time is man-made. Math is man-made. It's not the language of the universe because the universe doesn't know Earth exists, and math only exists on Earth, and that's our language to explain the universe. But it's not the language that the universe uses to talk to us. The universe still does what it does, and it's we that have to evolve to the universe, basically. Because we are, in fact, beta. Basically, at the very most, we are beta to the universe. Like, we're nothing compared to what is out there. Basically, we're just the earth. That's it. The sun can eat us alive, and it wouldn't even feel the fact that it ran into us, basically. And yet, we want to say that our language is the language of the universe. Like, it's stupid. It's bullshit. And so dimensions. So I should do this at least for the time being. Dimensions is the same reality. Like, we created them. They don't exist. They're not real. There is no fourth or fifth or sixth dimension, because there's no first, second, or third dimension. There is, as far as words that we created, and we can say that there is stuff, but the problem is, in order to say that there is stuff, you have to prove that there is stuff to begin with. And the very first step is we're talking in fairy tale land with Dungeons and Dragons. Basically, this is why Kaku does so well. It's theoretical physics, basically. In theory, if we say there's first, second, and third dimensions, then yes, there can be a fourth dimension. But understand, it's a theory upon a theory. You understand? And just because you proved that fourth dimension, that doesn't mean dimensions are real because you still haven't proved dimensions. And that's the point. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get to, is because everyone's talking about this pretend bullshit. Meanwhile, this kids in San Francisco, or I'm sorry, in Mexico, they're being raped by Trump and his goonies and whatnot, right? Like, they're trafficking immigrant girls, basically, and they're trying to come in the end to find a better life. That's all they want, but they're finding bullshit. And again, the reason why is because you're fucking playing with dragons and shit. And so it doesn't matter what you say. Anyways, we're gonna listen to what you guys say because I guarantee it's full of shit. But um, hopefully you have what you need. So take it and go, as they say. But anyways.
So, Chuck, here's a topic I don't think we talk enough about: dimensions. So, Chuck, here's a topic I don't think we talk enough.
I just want you to know. Look at him. Like, I think he wears makeup. Like, that is the most synthetic, artificial being. Like, I'm trying to look like something I don't actually look like, basically. And again, like, what the fuck are you doing in a science lab? You don't like, and this is the problem. Like, you're a wolf in sheep's clothing, essentially. Like,
So, Chuck, here's a
look at this is a scientist. This is more along the lines of what you should look like, right? This is what it should look like.
topic I don't think we talk
But this is not. Okay? Just understand that I wouldn't leave him in a room with my daughter. But yeah, I'm just saying. So
enough about dimensions.
Dementia, huh?
No, no.
ha ha ha.
You may have heard that we live in 3 dimensions and time is a 4th dimension.
You may have heard that we live in 3 dimensions. One is, again, it's a claim we haven't proven. Basically, this is what someone says, basically. And then they claim that time is the 4th dimension, and you can say that. And technically, yeah, sure, you could say that. Theoretically, yes, if it like, as long as you know we're playing in fairy tale land and anything goes anyways, it kind of fits. You know, as far as that fake illustration that we built. But that's the same truth, like, for example, saying, oh, the Hobbit, or the Ring and the Hobbit, or whatever, it fits all of them, right? For some reason, it fits all of them, unquestionably so. And that's fine and dandy, and it just works. Yeah, that's true too. It's the same thing, basically.
Okay.
And evidence that it really matters
It doesn't.
is even if you don't know it explicitly, you know it implicitly
That's not true.
that time really matters.
Nope, it doesn't. It doesn't matter.
Because I can say to you, Chuck, I'll meet you tomorrow at Starbucks.
Right.
And what's your reply to me?
I'll be there all day waiting, man, because I got nothing to do. I got nothing to do. So I'll just be at Starbucks.
Okay, alright, fine. Alright, hey, I'll meet you over in that room where dragons like to roost. No, there hasn't been one, but just because doesn't mean they haven't been there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the same concept, basically. And that's the point, is it's a concept. It's not real, basically. And that's all I'm trying to say here.
I'll start off in the morning with some breakfast, maybe a little muffin, and then I'll just stay there until you get there.
Okay, sorry, I'll meet you.
And for the record, I like a Chuck, basically. I don't have anything against Chuck. I'm just throwing it out there that these are things you need to be aware of, because if you ain't, then you're letting that wolf. I'm not saying he in particular is the type of person that would do that, but I'm just saying that that person who claims to be like Chuck can be something completely different, and you think, oh, it's Chuck, it's fine, and he's fucking your daughter. Right, and the same thing is true for if you send your kids to gym or to acrobatics or whatever for hours upon hours a day. You might want cameras. I'm just saying.
At Starbucks at 12 noon, okay?
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
I gave you a location in space, and you had to wait until I gave you a location in time.
Time. All right.
And that intersection of space and time is called your world line.
Whoa, love it.
It's called a world line.
World line.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean it's real.
So for our world lines to intersect, we have to be at the same place.
That's an invention that man made, and that's my point. Science doesn't care, or I'm sorry, nature doesn't care about this. Tomorrow doesn't exist to nature. ask a dog, like, what do you mean tomorrow? Like, all I know is the sun's not here right now, and that's when I sleep, because it's a good time to go to sleep because there's nothing awake. That's the only difference. And nocturnal things are awake at night because that's just what they do. They're not set to the clock. It's like, oh, it's this o'clock, time to wake up. No, that's just what we did. We measured. And like, well, time at this time is, and then this time is, so that means, right? It's not that it's because it's this time that means the day will be like this. It's the day is like this, and time will be like as a result. You know what I'm saying? We're putting the cart before the horse, basically.
At the same time.
See now, fellas, if you're smart and you're single, you will hold this one in the back, put it away in your back pocket.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Girl, I just need you as a part of my world line. You know
This is rap lines from Relativity.
Exactly.
Right. Okay. And let's reverse that. I'll say, Chuck, I'll meet you tomorrow at noon.
North America, good for you.
Right. Thank you, Earth. Yeah.
Earth? Is that all right? Yeah.
So we know intuitively you need both the time and the space coordinates.
Right, but intuitively based upon what we developed, not nature, but civilization and humanity. Like, what we have is artificial. Like, living in a home, that's not normal. We consider it normal, but there's no other animal in the world that's like, oh wow, nice house. My house looks like this, and it's a fucking tree. You know what I'm saying?
Conjoined in order to actually meet. Absurd variants on that would be you cross the.
But the point, by the way, just to clarify, is that people took that to mean something instead of realizing that's what it is. They're implying something else. And that's why I say they put the cart before the horse, so I gotta point this bullshit out.
Street, and 10 minutes later,
because people like Neil Kaku right here, this Tyson, but you go and say the Kaku likes to put the cart before the horse, likes to say, oh, well, the math is real and science is real and time is real and blah, 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 because of reasons. And it's like, no, you know, like, reasons of aren't, like, proof of. Like, we use time as a concept. That doesn't mean that therefore time is real because we use it as a concept. Like, that's stupid.
Truck barrels through in that same location.
Right.
So you were in the same location as the truck, but not at the same time.
You wouldn't say, oh man, I almost died today.
You wouldn't, because your world lines missed each other.
Right.
And you can do that another way. You exist at the same time as the truck, but you're nowhere near each other in location.
Right.
So, what made Zoom and other video conferencing so useful during COVID is that you only had to be at the same time.
Right.
You didn't have to be at the same place. So you take away one of the components of the world lines,
right,
and then many...
You know why? Because world lines don't exist. Oh.
Many more people can participate.
But you are converging at the same place virtually or digitally. So.
Exactly. It's the world changed, the world adapted, the world evolved, and so things changed. But so did your little artificial rule, because it's not natural, it's artificial. And so when the artificial landscape changed, so did the artificial term.
Okay, well, your image is on... I mean, I have my image of you on my computer, but it's not you.
This is true.
So let's keep talking about dimensions, right? My computer, but it's not you. Okay, well, your image is on... I mean, I have my image of you on my computer, but it's not...
I have my image of you. That's a really weird way to say that. To say I have your picture, like I have you here. To say I have my image of you. Like, how egotistical are you, Neil deGrasse Tyson? Like, holy shit.
Not you.
This is true.
So let's keep talking about...
So basically what happened there was the two alphas butt heads, And the rest Tyson is used to just kind of Chuck falling in line, and so what happened was Neil kind of pushed back, and Chuck was like, and this is why he has a little baby, and Neil's like, yeah, but it's not because he's a man. It's because no one is fucking being a man to him, basically. You know what I'm saying? Anyways.
About dimensions, ready? So we have one dimension, which is just a line. The measure.
That's no. It's not one dimension. That is a line. This is what we call it, right? All that is what we call is a dot, right? Those on the screen, we named that a dot, okay? And there's another dot, and we get a line and draw it between, and now the two dots are connecting. We are creating that whole fucking thing, and all we're doing is adding and adding and adding to it, but it's all man-made. None of this is scientifically fucking real, basically. It's all bullshit, basically. You can say that, yes, I did put the brick down, but it's a brick. It's not like a point A and point B. That is where we create the bullshit. And yes, I made a dumbbell out of, from brick and stick, and I put them together. I made a dumbbell, and yes, I made it, but I'm calling it a dumbbell, but in reality, it's just two bricks on a stick. You know what I'm saying? But the name we gave it, and then we're running with that part, but it's
measure of the line is the length. Okay. There's no other measurement you can make of it that has any meaning.
Right. Again, it's we derived. We say that.
Right. It does not have a width. Now you can.
It can.
Add another dimension,
like the outline, for example, as the width of like an inch, or like not an inch, a centimeter rather, or like 2 centimeters, or whatever, right? Or 3 millimeters, basically, right? We can say that, but again, in this scenario where we're creating, it's just a line. That's all it is, and understand it's man-made. You are explaining a situation. We're using your criteria. It's all coming from you, though. It's not like a thing that we found under a rock. It's man-made. That's what I'm saying.
They call that X. We add a Y, and now you have a surface.
A plane,
and that it's 2 dimensions.
What we call 2 dimensions. It's not because it is, it's what we called it.
X and Y. Okay? So you can make a square out of that, couldn't you?
Yeah.
2-dimensional
Neato.
beings who live in that surface to everyone.
Again, this is all like story time for a child. That's great. It's wonderful. Doesn't mean anything. Doesn't make it real. It's not. It's like not natural, basically.
Else in that surface, they only have.
It's not nature. It's not. It's all synthetic, artificial, man-made BS.
Have an outer perimeter.
Right.
You can't see inside their bodies.
They're all inside the flat
perimeter.
Right.
Everyone else in that surface, they only have an outer perimeter.
Right.
You can't see inside their bodies.
They're all inside the flat plane.
They're inside the
That's
flat
all
plane.
they can see.
All.
Right, but then you have to deprive that. What does that mean? Does that mean if we go in there, then all of a sudden it's 3D? We just didn't know. It's just our perception of, whoa, you know what I'm saying? It's your reality, what you make it, what you write it out, because it's not real. Dimensions are not real, they're man-made, and you write the script. You guys are acting like you found the script under a rock in science, and no, you put it there. Someone put it there. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
All you see is the edge of them.
Right, the edge.
So medical surgery in a 2-dimensional universe, they'd have to cut you open, part you, and then reach in and do what they need to come out.
There is no in, by the way. So you're already fucking up your story, basically. And again, we have to um, explain it as long as, and this is why education is limiting, because 2Ds in the sense that you're talking about it is limiting. Because, like I said, if I wanted to, I can say, I'm going into your 2D world, and suddenly now it looks 3D to me. Now I can partake it, but because of the way you're looking at it, that's why it looks 2D. But in reality, it's 3D when you're actually there, right? My mind is now bigger than yours, it's more expanded than yours, it's thinking a way that you never thought. And this is why it's impossible for old people to learn new things. We can't teach the old dog new tricks. And the reason why, it's because its foundations are based on education and not so much intelligence and making it up on the fly, basically. Like a human, for example, that can't remember anything, like I don't remember my friends, my family, whatever, they can still exist. Still know they need to eat and take a shit and all these things. They can still do things. They can still operate. For the most part, they just don't remember what the who and blah blah. And it's the same thing.
Come out and then stitch you up
Again, I can explain it to you if you want, but for the sake of
again.
time,
Right.
no, not right. Sure.
If we live in 3 dimensions,
We always live in 3 dimensions. Even 2D is 3D. It's just compared to the way you're looking at it, and the way you're observing it, and the way you're measuring it and writing it down. It looks 2D,
you get
but in reality, it's 3D.
to look down on that flat world and see all the inner guts of every living creature in that universe.
Neat.
Because there is no boundary above and below. It's
There was never a boundary. As an old man that you are, sure, you can be limited by your education, but me personally, I'm not. I chose to stop because I don't want to be limited. Basically, it's like we're finding gasoline. Like after a while, that truck won't be able to use gas anymore. It needed diesel fuel, and diesel fuel, that's where we get gasoline from. It's just that we're breaking it down to the point that you're getting gasoline from diesel, basically. You know what I'm saying? I don't know exactly, but that's, yeah.
only within
I don't have the education involved or required to further dive into the topic matter, but that's the topic matter as far as I care to understand it or know about it, basically.
the
And again, there are people that may know more, but good for you.
plane itself. You can see the heart beating, you can see the spleen, the liver, the pancreas, the lungs. You can see it all.
Cool.
In fact, if you wanted to be a surgeon for that world, you could go in, cut out the appendix if they needed appendectomy, and never have to cut through their outer boundary. You'd be like magically going into their body.
Dimensional surgery.
Dimensional surgery. They would have no access or even awareness that that was even possible. But you do.
Right.
And you can go in.
Not true. Because if you're seeing their insides, they have no outsides. All their guts will fall out. Your analogy doesn't work. You're talking jibber jabber. Like again, this is why I'm telling you 1D and 2D are bullshit. They don't fucking exist. They're man-made.
Go in and rectify that. So
Yeah, according to your old man education, basically.
now, we are in 3 dimensions.
Right.
Why are
And you
your
can go in
eyes
and
like
rectify that.
Why are you doing it with your eyes?
So now
You look like you got hella higher. Or
we are in
something.
3 dimensions.
Like you're talking crazy right now. It's a madman rambling about bullshit and is just limiting what's called the world. And this is why again I don't like an education basically because it's a form of you're breaking it down, and it's just getting finer. And this is why we have blue-haired like people, and why like, oh, I don't like gas. I only burn like, what's it called? Solar energy or wind energy, and I don't use fuel. And this is why the red people, the Democrats, the Republicans rather, why they like fuel, because they're fucking stupid. Like whatever, yeah, woohoo, look at all this black smoke, yeehaw. You know what I'm saying? Like if everyone thought that way, America would be fucked. Like the world would be fucking dead right now. Like the world would be over. There's a reason why China sucks, and Japan sucks, and Russia sucks, and the culture sucks, you know. And in certain places, yeah, it's fucking great. But the reason why it's great in certain places, it's only because you're so fucking your foundations only goes so far. Like after you've like in Russia, for example, like the reason why they're not more is because they can't. They don't have the technology. They don't have the way to do it, or they would.
We reveal our skin in all directions to the other people.
Right.
So our skin is the boundary between our innards and a medical doctor. If they want to get inside you, they got to cut you open.
Right.
I went through that surgery, by the way.
A four-dimensional creature can just look inside our bodies.
Oh, I feel violated.
No, that's not true. A four-dimensional creature couldn't look inside our bodies. That's not true.
Oh, I hope no one's watching.
You can't look in to my skin. The only way you can actually look, and that's why radiation, like enough radiation, why they protect themselves from X-rays and stuff, because something has to happen to your body, and that's why. So in order for something to see through you, it has to go through you. And in order to go through you, it has to pass through you. In order to pass through you, it has to disrupt things to get there. And that's what the imaging is, and that's why, like, if you go get an X-ray or something, that's they're watching, like, huh, what's going on? Oh, yeah, that's cool. They're usually behind a desk or behind a wall or something and watching computers because there's shit that they don't want 8 hours of, you know what I'm saying, prolonged whatever existence next to, because their bodies would break down basically, because that shit happens basically. So that whole thing fucking doesn't work
Right now. God.
Anyone from the fourth spatial dimension has full access to your entire body's innards.
No, it's bullshit.
Oh.
Basically what that is, it's like a pattern recognition is fine and all, but all you're doing is you're creating patterns and then finding them. That's what you're doing. Like you've seen 1 and 2 and 3, and then you're saying, oh, these are dimensions because I recognize a pattern, so there must be something, so therefore there must be something else. Haha, because there must be this, then I'm thinking logically and breaking down, haha, and it's like, no, it wouldn't work. And no, you're stupid. Shut up. It's theory. It's all bullshit. Like math, like time, it's all bullshit. So no.
They could pull stuff out, put stuff in, operate, whatever.
No,
We are the game operation to anybody in the fourth dimension.
So Chuck is the ultimate wingman, because you can walk into a party and be like, "What's up, girl? How you doing? Yeah, I'm the best pilot there ever was. Isn't that right, Chuck?" And you're like, "Yeah, man, this guy can fly through anything." And because he's willing to just whatever, just yeah, okay. The ultimate kiss ass, the ultimate sellout, basically. That's what he is. It's just he has no spirit, no soul of his own. At least in this duo arrangement, and that's what makes me sad, because that's what a lot of the world is. That's what Trump has around him all day, and why he's allowed to fucking, why he's the king of the world in his mind, because everyone around him sucks his dick. But the second he shows up in my room and he's like, "Hey, you need to do this right now," I'm like, "Shut up, bitch," you know, because I ain't, no, fuck you, bitch. I'm not, no. And again, alpha. I make my own territory. I tread my own style, bitch. You don't tell me which way to swim. I will go where I want to go because I want to. You know what I'm saying?
Ah, what I'm saying is,
Body in the fourth dimension.
ah,
I feel bad for them kids.
what I'm saying is, if you had what you beautifully refer to as dimensional surgery, you would be able to operate without ever cutting someone open.
Not true.
Provided you come from a higher, you would be able to operate without ever cutting someone open. Provided you come from a higher dimension inward.
Not true. Not true.
Right.
And it is.
That's based off of what you are. You're basically a crazy madman. Basically, is what I think our forefathers would say. That what the fuck are you smoking? Basically, because you're taking something, and you're like Kaku in that sense. Like it's to some degree, you're like Kaku. It's like what the fuck are you talking about? That makes no sense. And like you're saying, oh, because of that must be the smallest thing in the world. No, that's the smallest things that our machines can see. They're limited. You're saying the limit, like our forefathers back then at least had the sense to say, oh, we're limited by our equipment. Whereas you're like, it seems we reached the end of the universe. No, bitch, we don't know. And that's what I hate is you guys are talking like you know when you have no fucking idea. And that's the problem with the world. And that's the problem with intelligence. We gotta stop. We gotta go back to fucking back when America was taken over and America became America. And I'm not saying we need slavery to come back. No, like that was all fucking bullshit. And it's just like, for example, the shit they did with men and the women can play ball. That's fine. It's whatever. They can do whatever they want. As far as race and color, that's bullshit. It's a lie. It's all, what's it called? You're too stupid to realize, and you're trying to sound smart. And the problem is, you sound like a fucking retarded idiot, fucking dumbass, and you're 2 minutes away from having a stroke seizure because you're making no sense. Like you're making no sense, dude. Oh, first, second, third dimension, blah blah blah. No, what the fuck are you talking about? There's no first and second or third. There's no such thing as time. There's no the math is a language. We invented it. It only works because we told it to work. We built it to work, and the reason why is because when it failed, we invented a way to make it right again. That's not how it works in the real world. When shit like that one that the like I know because I think I was like 7 years old. We were learning about like multiplication, decimals, and shit. And they're talking about like, oh well, there's a remainder of one, and we don't worry about that. But we'll talk about that later. And I was curious about where does that one go? What happens to that one? What are we talking about? Don't worry about it. I don't know. And the teacher just didn't know because they're a book educator and not really because they knew basically. And thankfully, I knew some. I know what's called. I think I had the end of it. Basically, I would say. Um, um, McKinley, Crawford was amazing. And then I think Mr. Daly sucked. He's dead now, Mr. Daly. All he would do is have us copy, like we literally all his class was. Um, we basically had not literally, but like an encyclopedia, and he had his copy. Like we had to write down we basically the dictionary. Basically, that was it. We just the dictionary. Boom, 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 boom. That was basically our assignment. Copy down like word for word what the dictionary says. Write it down, and that's your notes. You read your notes, and then that was it. And that's how he learned, and so he pushed it forward like that. And that's no one really the class that was supposed to take it in didn't take it in. That's the point I'm trying to get to. And then what's funny is, in high school there was Mr. What's his name? Mr. Kensworthy, and my friend is called Mr. K. Um, I miss that dude. Like what he became sucks, but what he was because of a friend that I used to know. He had ruined a lot of people's lives. But anyways, I held on because I'm fucking off as fuck. But what he would do is, if you got in trouble, what he would tell you to do is go get the book, and that meant you're in trouble. And they say, all right, go get the book. No, Mr. K, Mr. K, and then all the excuses or whatever. Nope, go get the book. And so what you would do is you'd go and grab this dictionary. It's like a red dictionary, and then you take it and you find a page and you rip it. And so what he wanted you to do is not pick a side, and it depends. It's either a pick a side or both. It depends on how much trouble you are. If you're really in trouble, it's both. But if you only like if you fucked up like kind of bad, then you pick one page. But if you fucked up, then he wanted you to pick both. And basically, what he said was, I want you to copy word for word everything that dictionary says on that page, right? And again, if you fucked up, it was front and back. But if you just, fucked up, then it was just the front or just the back. But if you really fucked up, it was front and back. And so that was your punishment, copying word for word everything the dictionary said, basically. And that was your detention time. That's what you did. Like, you had to go to detention. And, what's it called? He wouldn't make, like, so there's this thing called the support room. Basically, you get in trouble, you get kicked out, you go to the support room. Basically, like if you're just like if you're making loud, you're being too loud, the teacher just tells you to shut up, and you're not shutting up. And the support room go, and then so they'd go you. And if you're a bad kid, security would take you. But basically, in the support room, you had a period with the support room teacher, and basically it was just there to make sure you're doing something. It didn't matter what it was, you're doing something. It's just some free time. This is a chance for you to work, and you're not supposed to talk to anybody. You're sitting there alone by yourself. Work. That's it. Just work. And so then you come back the next day, and you're like, all right, give me your paper. And then he would look at him like, all right, that's enough. Okay, you're good. Or you're like, what is this? Like, you barely tried. What the fuck? Do it again. And then you're like, I want both now. Stuff like that. And that was what we had to go through and we had to pay attention. That's discipline, by the way. That's what's vacant from today. And while fucking these dumbasses are talking like, oh, the first dimension, second dimension, ooh, like, this is one female. And the only reason why she has attention is because she has a fucking vagina, basically. And nearly lost Tyson, you may have been fucking smart, but you're talking some fucking nonsense right now. Like, shut the fuck up, bookworm. Like, talking about again, I get fine to know the sciences, but talk about the sciences, basically. That's it. Don't try to go and get your name in the books because you're dying, and you're dying alone, or you're dying a fucking a pathetic life, or it's your fault. The fucking beta, fucking gamma loser ass bitch. Don't take on the world around you. That's your fucking fault for being a failure. But anyways, I'm fucking done. I'm fucking done talking. This fucking idiot. You know what? No, it's finished.
Completely analogous to be a four-dimensional surgeon operating on us without cutting us open, to be we as three-dimensional surgeons operating on two-dimensional creatures, because you can
That's not true.
just see all their organs just sitting there.
That's not true. Again, because the reason that's not true is because they have skin. You would see the skin. In order to not see the skin, it has to go somewhere. You can't just, hold this, remainder one, right? It doesn't work that way. You can't just hold the skin and operate. It doesn't work that way. Where does the skin go? Why is it there? What happened to it? You know what I'm saying? You don't have that free access that you're saying. If you're looking inside the person, chances are that person's dead. Chances are all his guts are flowing out, but yet they're not. You know why? You're a fucking idiot. That's why.
Now,
It doesn't matter to explain it. You're a dumbass. That's as simple as that. If there's nothing to hold it, then there's nothing holding it. Therefore, it empties. Basically, end of story. If you cut a hole in somebody, they have a hole. Basically, if you open them up, it's a hole. The blood goes somewhere, and just because it's 2D, you can bet your ass I can draw blood and water on your face. I can draw you pissing in 2D. It's not hard. And just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it breaks down the more you get into it, the more you explain it. And yes, that is basically what stupid smart people talk about. Let's put it that way.
we can move forward and back, left and right, up and down. Okay? Those are the three spatial dimensions. But the time dimension, you don't have access to the past or the future.
Because there is no past or future, you fucking idiot.
We are prisoners of the present.
No, we're not. There is only the present. There is only the now. We are literally on a giant rock floating in space for no fucking reason, except for the one we came up with, basically, right? Like me, for example, I am not Christian, but I will carry on Christian values because I think, like Santa, there's a lot of good to come from it, one way or another. And my end all goal is to make everyone as smart as possible, so that if reincarnation is a thing, and I think it is, I think I'm going somewhere, and I think I will come back at some point. If I am a cow, right, I want to not be a prisoner as a cow. That's basically what you're asking these people to be, basically. Because we have a prisoner for cows. Like, you have small space, you're a chicken, and you're in a cage your whole fucking life. And like, give me eggs, I want eggs. And it's like, that's your life, dude. That's your fucking life, bro. And that's why they say, like, have empathy. And they say treat others as you want to be treated, basically. And why this tradition or pastime carried on and carried over and so forth and whatnot, because it probably has some value at some point, extent or another.
Forever transitioning between our inaccessible past and our unknowable future. But let's think this through. How would you imprison a two-dimensional creature?
Draw a line.
What kind of line?
A square.
A square. Just draw a square. That's its prison cell.
Yeah.
But we say, wait, just step up out of it and then you escape.
Good to go.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm fully locked in.
Fully locked in.
How do we put us in a cell? We have 6 walls.
Why are you fully locked in?
Right.
A ceiling, floor, 4 walls around us.
Right.
We think we are completely contained within it. A higher dimensional creature.
No, it can just go under. There's no floor. Did you notice? Look, no floor. So it can just fall forever at that point because there's no floor. What's stopping? It's logic. It's your logic is creating a floor. Oh, so there's a floor there. So that means, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't work.
Walls.
Right.
A ceiling, floor, 4 walls around us.
Right.
We think we are completely contained within it. A higher dimensional creature. Just step out and then step back in and you're outside the cell. We said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Wait a minute.
There's no such thing.
I said a 4-dimensional creature. If we had access to the 4th dimension, which for us is what?
Time.
No. Time isn't real.
Time, but wait, we're prisoners of time. So suppose we weren't
We weren't prisoners of time because time isn't real, you jackass.
prisoners of time. Suppose you could move through time the way we move through space.
You can't move through what doesn't exist. Like, for example, I don't move a foot. I took a step forward, and we called it a foot. You know what I'm saying? There's the difference. That's like, it took you 2 seconds, therefore time is real. No, you dumbass. All you're doing is the same thing. I don't walk a foot. I walked a step. It just happens to be that the step is a foot. That's why they call a foot, because that's, generally speaking, most people once upon a time when they walk, that was the distance between the steps. That's why they call it a foot, because that's basically a foot. Or your foot is a foot big. It's 12 inches. The general foot was about 12 inches back in the day. We're getting smaller now because computers, and we're getting further and further away from nature and the monkeys and blah blah blah. We're not swinging around in trees anymore. We're in a fucking room. The computers, our hands are small and shit. It's like, why the fuck do you have fingers when you're like fucking just typing on a computer? You might as well just put your hands down and plug them in. Just zzz, like, at some point, that's gonna be the case.
Could you then escape the prison?
Yeah, just move to a time when I'm not in prison.
Exactly. Just say, let me get out of these 6 walls here. You just go back to a time before you got put into prison, or go to the future where you were let go from the prison.
Right.
Each of those counts as escaping the prison without ever.
You all know something, by the way? That wouldn't happen. Because if you were in prison and you went back in time, you're going to end up in prison again. Because everything happened, and it happened. That's it. And the same for the future. If you're in prison and you go to a time when you're not in prison, then you're going to die. Because you may be in that prison forever. And so you're waiting for that time to come. It never shows up. You died of hunger. Oh, shit, sorry.
Ever breaking down the wall.
Right.
So time.
But again, if we go and use your logic, sure, whatever. You can fucking... It doesn't matter at that point. At that point, we're talking about dragons and fairy tale land and blah, 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 sure.
can serve that same role if you had access to the past and to the future.
What the fuck is that?
Right.
So time can prison.
Right.
Each of those counts as escaping the prison without ever breaking down the wall.
Right.
So time can serve that same role if you had access to the past and to the future.
That's pretty cool, man.
No.
Of course, we go higher. There's fifth dimension, sixth dimensions, this sort of thing.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
And mathematically, you can calculate what all the properties are.
And again, mathematics is human made. It's like saying, oh, well, according to English, we can. No, English is man made, right? There's a reason why you go to Mexico and they speak Spanish. Or you go to fucking Germany and they speak German, and in Russia they speak Russian, basically. And why you call American, like, oh, speaking American, basically. That's where that kind of came from. But in reality, it's English. And the reason why is because we took our language from England and we Americanized it. America, you know what I'm saying? But that's, anyways. You don't know what roots are, so.
And it's fascinating to watch. Another quick one, you ready?
Go ahead.
Shut up.
Knots in strings only exist in 3 dimensions.
I'll do one better. Knots exist only in 3 dimensions. That's true. But everything only exists in 3 dimensions. Whoa!
Okay.
In other words, in a 4th dimension, you hand them a knot in the 4th dimension and say, wait, just
There is no 4th dimension.
pull the ends,
Right.
and it unravels itself. That's the same thing as we 3-dimensional people looking at 2-dimensional people, and they have a string that just has this loop in it. One loop.
Right.
And they say, how do I untie this? I can't untie. Say, dude, pick up the 2 ends and stretch. They can't do that.
Right.
They can't do that. So knots are different things in higher dimensions. The way to do it is you have to make a knot out of a 2-dimensional ribbon. And there are ways to do that, I think, and rather than just out of a string. So a lot of interesting things change and are mind-boggling for ascending to a higher dimension.
Sweet.
One last quick thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why does anyone want a flying car?
So you can get up and over traffic.
So you only really think about flying cars in cities where you're like plugged with traffic. And what a flying car gets you is another dimension of travel.
True.
Not really. No, it doesn't. It doesn't get you another dimension. It allows you to access the other dimension. Right?
You don't want to talk in a 1-lane road because that's bad.
And in reality, what you say is, I'm no longer walking, I am flying. You can say the 2 dimensions, or you can say whatever the fuck you want, but you have to understand, like, you're still in the 3rd dimension. When you're on foot, it's still 3D. You're still opening and closing, getting in and out of a car or whatever. It's the same thing as in the sky. You open the sky, you close the sky, and you get out of the sky or whatever. Same fucking thing.
All right. But even if you go 2 dimensions and you have multiple lanes, because now you're in a plane,
2 dimensions? No, it's not.
that can get cloggy too.
Right.
So get a 3rd dimension is wide open. But wait a minute. That means we already have flying cars. It's called the subway.
Ooh.
Instead of being in the air, it's underground, bypassing the traffic you're in. It still invoked the 3rd dimension. But also, it means overpasses, where the freeway goes right through and the overpass goes over. That's a flying car right there.
Oh, wow.
You invoked another dimension.
Oh, look at that, another dimension. No, it's the same fucking one.
Very low bar for what's called blind.
Right. And you're kind of singing, Chuck. Good job. Using your intelligence to see this fucking idiot who is limited. I said tit. Is limited by his education. And again, this is why I do not want to be educated, because further educated, because to be as educated as you can, it's basically a form of refinement. Like Michael Jordan, for example, would never be good at swimming or horse riding, for example. Things of that nature, and the reason why is because he's very good at this one thing, and that's great and that's wonderful. But the problem is, then he can only be good at that one thing. You can't be good at multiple things. Whereas someone who's smaller and not as good in basketball can be a runner, or he can be a quarterback, or he can be a swimmer, or he's open for more options. And that's kind of how I decided to take intelligence, basically. So instead of just knowing math, I know fucking engineering, philosophy, psychology, the whole 9 yards. And so I can say, you're an idiot, Neil deGrasse Tyson. you are starting to reach the point that what's his name? Kaku. What is it? You know what? Hold on. Hold on. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this. There is a scientist, and he is called, or they call him Kaku. What do you know the his full name? I'm tired of bringing him up, and I just can't know. I don't know his name, so I can never reference the full thing. I always just say Kaku. But what's the full thing?
I think you're referring to Dr. Michio Kaku. He's a
That's what it was. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. Sorry, but go ahead.
No worries at all. Michio Kaku is definitely a fascinating figure in the world of science, especially when it comes to explaining complex topics like theoretical physics and the universe. If you have any other questions about him or anything else, just let me know.
That will be another day. We gotta finish this up.
Let's just say it.
So I think that's all the time we have.
And in another dimension, we would have all the time in the world.
All right, Neil deGrasse Tyson here, as always.
And no, another dimension. No, you wouldn't, because time isn't real, and so it would be the same no matter what, because dimensions aren't real. So there's whatever you're saying, it's all fairy tales, and you might as well believe in fairies at that point. But anyways, that's it. I'm out. No comments on my stream, and that's it. Be all be happy, be safe, peace. Um, the Grass Tyson is stupid. Michio Kaku is stupid. I think they're getting too old, and we're seeing what happens when education takes you too deep, basically, and starts to interfere with intelligence. And intelligence is the ability to deal with life, essentially. And education doesn't get to override life, or else Trump would actually be in the clear. And his whole entire crew and party that he is a Trojan horse for, they would be able to, with their alternative facts would be justified. But anyways, be all be safe, be happy, take care, and God bless, Godspeed. Be all be happy, be safe. I'm out. Peace.